This is Chloe Deacon interviewing Paddy Smith on the 27th of August 2017 at his home in Borsall Heath. Paddy was born in 1936 in County Cavan, Ireland. Paddy migrated to Birmingham in 1953. Can you tell me about your family background?
My family background? I can. As I said, my dad passed away when I was only 11 with a severe heart attack. My mother died in 1964. She's buried in Brandwood End here in Birmingham. There was just another brother and myself, John Smith. He passed away in 2000. And I'm the only one left in that family. I don't know, you want to know about my family now?
Yes, please.
Well, I got married. I met a lady from County Cork in Ireland in 1956. We got married in 1957. We would have been 60 years married next month, but sadly she passed away on New Year's Day this year. We got 2 children, daughter Teresa and a son John. We've got 3 grandchildren, twin boys and a girl.
That's great, thank you. Please can you paint me a picture of some of your earliest childhood memories in Ireland?
My earliest childhood memories? Well, I left school before I should have done, because my brother was taking collecting milk from the farmers and taking it to the local creamery. It got too big, so I left school nearly about a year before I was due to, and I helped him out with my donkey and cart to pick up the ones that he couldn't take. I worked for a while during the autumn, for the harvesting with a few of the local farmers. I worked with the local Cavan County Council for a year, but that finished. And that's mainly why I came to Birmingham, because there was no work in Ireland at the time.
How was your experience attending school in Ireland?
Well, we had 2 classes. We had what they called the small children, which was with the Mistress, and the larger ones at the age of 8 or 9 moved into what they called the senior school, which was the master's part, the headmaster there. I enjoyed school while I was at it. I wasn't very clever. The only thing I was any good at was mathematics. And that's about the only thing that I've taken. The rest I've learned since I left school. Anything else? No?
What was the place like that you grew up in?
A small holding of 10 acres farm with a few cows, horse, sow, ducks, hens, geese. I don't think there's anything else. Well, I don't know what else did you. Yeah, you want to?
What was the community like?
The community was a small farming area out in the middle of the country. It was the nearest shop was a mile away. The nearest town was 7 miles away. Yes, I had some friends, and I used to have a lot of people come to me. Actually, there was hardly any cars about in them days, and it was all bicycles, and I used to do a lot of bicycle repairs for myself and for a lot of the local neighbours as well. Not that there was many of them, local neighbours, but I used to do a lot of bicycle repairs.
That's great. So did you find a lot of children your age migrated?
Not at that time. A lot of them had already gone before my time. A lot of them went to America. But when I came to England, I came with 2 other people. Originally there was supposed to be 3 coming with me, but only one chickened out at the last minute, and later in life went to London. But the 3 of us came to Birmingham, and 2 which have already passed on as well, sadly.
What was your experience migrating?
I had friends here when we came to Birmingham. I already had some friends, a few friends here, and obviously made a lot more early in my arrival in Birmingham. So,
What was it like travelling to Birmingham?
what was it like? It was, we had a pleasant journey across. We spent our first night overnight in Dublin with a friend and sailed the next night. Arrived in Birmingham. First place I went to was to the Shamrock Club in Hurst Street, and that was where I met my good late wife. From there, I said, I started to make a lot of friends. Then I got involved with a GAA club, which is called Sean McDermott's, which is still going strong today. And we had our 60th anniversary back in June. I also, for 17 years and in the 80s, run a soccer club, Sunday morning football team, which we had a bit of success at. But sadly, finances caught up with us, and that had a fold. You switched on, are you? When I first came to Birmingham, I lived down in Edgbaston, back at the Bristol Cinema, which is now a McDonald's. That's where I got married from. Well, that's where we were living at the time. When I first came, I lived in digs in Prince's Road, famous area. And then when my first daughter was born, we moved over to the back of the Bristol Cinema to Gough Road. And then when we were expecting our second child, we moved to Edward Road. From there we moved to Clifton Road, where my son was born. But sadly there wasn't enough room there, so we moved from there to Queenswood Road. And in 1961 we got this house and been here since.
What was your career like in Birmingham?
When I first came to Birmingham, my first job was at the Austin factory in Longbridge for 12 months. But that was all nights, and I thought an 18-year-old, it wasn't suitable. Nights were not my... So then I got a job on Birmingham City Transport, the buses, as a conductor. I was on there for 2.5 years and wasn't very impressed. So I went back to Longbridge, to the car factory, where I spent over 24 years. Took redundancy from there in 1982. Well, self-employed for insurance for a while. Not very successful. The wrong time to be going self-employed, because there was a lot of redundancies, so it wasn't the best job to join. So after a while, I worked in Thai food tea for a very short while, and then I got this job because I was still doing part-time insurance, and I got this job with a subsidiary of K's Catalogue for door-to-door sales and collection. And I spent the last 18 years of my working life with them till I retired in 2001. I went back in 2002 to do some holiday cover. But sadly, they wanted me back in 2003, but sadly I couldn't go back because I had to go and have a bowel operation. And that finished my working career.
What was your experience of working in the Austin car factory?
My experience, I always liked the jobs. I got various jobs in there in the years I was there. The problem was that because of being out on strike, or other companies out on strike, we were laid off as well, and the money was very scarce at times. As I said, I started in 1959 with the Mini, and I finished in 1982 with the Allegro. The last Allegro off the track, that was.
Was there a sense of community at the Austin car factory?
Oh yes, we had a sense of community. We used to, if the track broke down, we used to play cards. Gang of us, or get the dominoes out and have a game of dominoes. Until we had a new boss come in and he wouldn't allow it. So we had to sit sucking our thumb, nothing to do. If there was no work to be done, if the track broke down, or the line broke down, whatever. So we had quite a good relationship in there with a lot of people, friends.
That's great. So when you first moved to the UK, Birmingham, what would you do in your spare time in the months when you first arrived?
Not long after I arrived, I joined a football club, a GAA football club called Sean McDermott's, and I'm still a member of that club today. As I said later on, I set up a Sunday morning soccer team. A few of the lads that wanted somebody to set a team up, so I managed to do that. I played at darts for many years, as long as I could play them. Can't play them anymore now. I can't lift my arm anymore to play them. Pretty successful as well. Amateurs, obviously.
How did you find it being an Irish person in the UK?
I had no trouble with it at all, but there was places where there was notices up where no Irish need apply for jobs. I never had that problem, thankfully. But times have changed, thankfully. The culture's changed completely over the years. I mean, like when I moved into this avenue here, there were all English or Irish people living in it. Now there's only 2 families now, all the rest are Asian people. Nice people, no problem with them. Very friendly people. They looked after me very well when the wife passed away. They even fed me. And I've no problem with. They're nice, good neighbours.
When you first moved to the UK, how was the culture different between Ireland and here?
Well, obviously a complete change, because from coming from the country, where there was only all surrounded by farming, to come to Birmingham was a completely different change. But I just went along with the flow. That's how I've done it all my life. I got no enemies, I don't think. I haven't made any yet, and I don't intend to.
How did you find you mix with other cultures?
Well, I've always been a mixer because of my interest in darts, dominoes, football, Gaelic football, and I've never had any problem with mixing with people. Obviously, the whole area has changed completely from when I first came, because this particular area of Boswell Heath and Spark Hill and Sparkbrook, a lot of it was predominantly, especially Spark Hill, was predominantly Irish people actually, and that's all changed. They all moved out or passed away. the first shop we had to become non-white was a chap that I used to work with on the buses. His name was Menai. He started a little herb shop on Ladypool Road, and later in life he took over the big supermarket around the backyard called Menai Supermarket, which later on became Money Saver and is now empty.
What was the role of religion in your life?
The role of my religion in life was I was born a Roman Catholic. I went to a Roman Catholic school. I was an altar boy for a couple of years before I left to start work. And since I come to this country, I've always gone to church every Sunday. I was married in St. Catherine's, the old St. Catherine's Church in the Horse Fair in Bristol Street. Now, because of where I live, I use the English Martyrs Church in Evelyn Road in Sparkhill. I don't know what that's.
What's your relationship like with Ireland now?
I love the country, I always have done. Unfortunately, it's not possible to go back to live there. We thought about it once, but decided not to. And of course, the only family I've got there now is a second cousin who is 96 and sadly in a care home, which I went to see twice while I was in Ireland 2 weeks ago. I try to get back to Ireland every 4 to 5 years, as long as I can. As I said, I love the country. It's a lovely place for people who hasn't been once they get there. And this particular time last time I went to Belfast, because I've never been. And we had a trip around on the hop-on, hop-off bus around the Falls Road and the Shankill Road, which is sad to see, the murals and God knows what else is around there. But it was interesting.
So how would you compare the atmosphere in Ireland to when you come back in the UK?
Big changes. A lot of people have emigrated to there from all over the world. Some of the places you hardly find an English-speaking person. I found that in a few places. Like I went to a place called Dungannon in County Tyrone, and they were all from, where were they from, sorry. It's all right, I've had a senior moment. But anybody speaking there, or most of them, they're all speaking in a foreign language. The same as they are in parts of in the town of Cavan, which is only a small town. You know, it's the culture and the people living there has changed completely. Yeah, completely. From people there from all over Poland, Romania, you know, all nationalities there.
How does it make you feel meeting people who have also migrated like you?
It's always nice to meet people, especially people that you knew in the past, many years ago. It's nice to meet up with them. It's nice to meet people from all over the world, actually. I love, as long as I can understand and speak the language, or they speak English. I should be able to speak Gaelic myself, but unfortunately I'm not. A few words here and there, but that's all. I wasn't taught it at school enough.
When you think back to your migration process, how does it make you feel?
I suppose in a way it's sad that we had to leave Ireland, because parts of Ireland, it's a lovely country, some beautiful places, seaside places in it, which I try to visit now when I go back, each time I go home. So I still call it home, although it's not. The house is down, the land's gone. Got a few friends around, alive still. Not many, there's still a few left.
How was it building friendships once you were in the UK?
I never had any trouble. I said always, because I went to Irish clubs mainly, and they were all Irish people them days. It was all Irish people that was attending them, you know, for the Shamrock in Horse Street, the Harp, down on Walford Road locally. We had the Cascade club up on Stratford Road. Oh, there was a lot of clubs. They're nearly all predominantly owned by Irish people and used by Irish people. So that way I made an awful lot of a big circle of friends.
If you think back to when you came to Ireland, and if you imagine there was an Irish clubs or Irish community, what's the Irish culture like in Birmingham?
Well, the Irish culture in Birmingham there's still clubs around which have bands on the weekend. Not many of them, sadly, because not many people are going to them. So a lot of them have closed down. Even the pubs the Irish pubs, or Irish people running the pubs, have all practically gone. But thankfully we've got a couple left. St. Patrick's Day parade in Birmingham is worth everyone to see. There's 60, 70,000, 75, maybe 80,000 this year, just gone. That is worth for people to go and to spend a few hours watching it. Yeah, that's it, to do with St. Patrick's Day parade. Okay. Yeah, the St. Patrick's Day parade, as I said, is worth going to see because there's a lot of floats. There's tractors, there's motorbikes, old, antique ones, ancient ones. It's absolutely brilliant to see, and if you're lucky enough, you can get on one of the floats. Save walking like me, I'm not able to walk it anymore, so. And you've got a great scenery all around you, all around the Bullring, all through Digbeth, up to Camp Hill, all around that area. They go all the way down and come all the way back, the opposite way up. Worth seeing, very enjoyable. Let's hope we always get sunshine for it.
What was it like the first time you went to the Irish festival with the floats?
When I first went to the Irish Festival, I used to walk with the Cavan County Association because every association walks behind their banners. They used to, not so many nowadays, but that's what I done first of all. Until later on then when I just went down to watch and walk just along the sidewalks just to see what was going on, to watch everything, all entertainment. But as it's lately I just have to get onto a float if I can, because my legs won't carry me very far anymore.
Can you tell me a bit more about the association you're a part of, please?
The association I'm a part of is the GAA Football and Hurling Club called Sean McDermott's. They were founded in 1957 from a breakaway club which was called Shamrocks. That folded and Sean McDermott's was formed from that. I was at their first meeting in 1957 with my cousin Jimmy Smith, who's passed on, sadly. He was one of the founder members of it. They're still going strong today. We were at a 60th anniversary in June, just past, where over 2,000 people were present. We had the president of the GAA of Ireland come over. We had ex-players come across from different parts of Ireland who've repatriated. And a wonderful night was had by everybody. Late one, but an enjoyable one.
So was there a big Irish community in the association?
It's all Irish. It's the GAA is all, mind you, nowadays there's a lot of second generation, and there's also kids of various Creed and Colours playing the game now. There's a lot of black lads that are now picking up the game of Gaelic. But you'd have to go out to see them, out to Parknahearn, which is out in Catherine de Barnes Road in Shirley, somewhere out there.
Did you ever play Gaelic football?
No, I played a little bit as a schoolboy, but no, I wasn't good enough. And I never seen a hurling game till I came to Birmingham, because we didn't play it in my county.
So what part did you play in the team and the association?
Well, as I said, I was a member for ever since 1957. And then I was the treasurer for about 3 years, I think. I can't remember the actual years, but I gave that up because I started up to set up the soccer team that I run, or started to organise on a Sunday morning soccer team. So took me away from the Gaelic a little bit. I still go now and support them, the matches.
When you first joined the association, how did it make you feel?
Well, it made me feel I was proud to be Irish and proud to mix up with other Irish people, which I became friends with over the 60 years it's been going. All new friends keep coming along, and I hope long may it continue.
Was there any other events which empowered you as an Irish man?
Well, not as Irish. I mean, I'm a sportsman. I support all sports. As I said, all GAA sport. I played darts for many years. I enjoy watching rugby, cricket, all sports I've taken interest in.
What was your experience whilst playing darts?
I enjoyed them. Had a bit of success, got a few trophies hanging around here and there somewhere. And then my wife also joined the dart team. She first of all joined a mixed dart team, and then joined the ladies' dart team, which they really enjoyed. The girls' night out.
How did you find it when you first joined these clubs?
The pubs usually paid for anything that had to be paid for. They usually paid for it, funded it. I just enjoy the night. I enjoy the few pints. And look at me.
What do you think of Birmingham as a city?
Well, Birmingham is the second city in England, and it's obviously a lovely city. I don't go in much to it because I don't like city life, to be honest with you. Coming from the country, I prefer the country life or the local villages. Any village I prefer to go into rather than go into the city of Birmingham. But nothing I can say about it bad, because it's a grand city.
What was your first thoughts when you moved to Birmingham? About
city in the centre, As I said, when I first come here, I lived in Prince's Road, next to the famous Varna Road, which I presume you all know about.
Yeah, do you know what it
was? Prince's Road was fine, actually. It was Varna Road was the main. It's now Belgravia Close, actually. It's no longer Varna Road. It's Belgravia Close now, off Bosley Heath Road.
Maybe.
I was a supporter since 1958. I was a season ticket holder for about, up till 2 years ago, for about 8 years. The daughter and myself and my cousin have travelled all round England following the Villa. When the first division was going, when they're in the second division, and even when they were in the third division. Going to places like, some people hardly ever heard of, Accrington Stanley. That's a bit of a joke, that is, because we've been there when the Villa was in the third division. And nowadays, I don't go to many games. I go to the odd one, but I'm still a armchair supporter. Matter of fact, I booked a match the other night on Sky to watch it Friday night. They're struggling at the moment, but hopefully soon they will be back where they belong in the Premiership.
Did you know about Aston Villa before you came to Birmingham?
I can't remember whether I did know it. I knew about Man United and Liverpool and Arsenal. They were the main teams them days. I probably knew about Aston Villa, but never thought about supporting anybody, actually. I supported Birmingham City when I first came for every other Saturday. Birmingham City one Saturday, Aston Villa the next. I've even gone on spare weekends. I've gone to Wolves. I've been to Walsall. I'm just a sports fanatic, I suppose you would say. Ever of it? Mm-hmm. Because I think something has got to be, because they're curtailed with immigration. Something's got to happen.
Do you want to record?
What do you think about the future of Birmingham?
Well, the future of Birmingham and the future of England, I'm concerned about. And that's why I admit that I did vote in favour of Brexit, because our National Health Service is taking an awful hammering, and things are going to get worse, I think, because of the way it's been run and the way the country's been run at the moment. And hopefully things will change for the better. We'll have to wait and see. Even if Brexit ever occurs, it may not. Sadly had to be put down.
But you've got cats now.
2 cats, yeah.
What was your wife's experience of coming to England?
My wife's experience of coming to England was that she lived most of her life as a youngster with her grandmother. Grandmother passed away, and she was very, very sad and lonely after that. And she decided that she was going to leave home and come to England. She got the ferry in Cork in Ireland and was heading with the intention of going to London. But on the ferry she befriended a vicar and his wife who were travelling back after being on holiday, and they advised her that London wasn't the place to be for a 16-year-old girl to be on her own there, and they convinced her the best thing to do was come back with them to Birmingham, which she did, and they took her into their home, to their vicarage up in Ladywood, and they took her, because she's a Roman Catholic, they took her to he took her to the church every Sunday before he went off to do his own work at the Church of England, and got her first job at the accident hospital, where she spent a number of years there, and that's where she was when I met her. And there's no song saying that, where did you meet her? I met her in the Galtymore. Well, I didn't meet her in the Galtymore, I met her in the Shamrock in Hurst Street.